Them to change it to a name they are known by in everyday life, saying the rules about false personal information are clearly stated. So you don't get the kind of trolls that you get on Twitter. You actually have to use your real name on Facebook.
But how do they know if you're using your real name?
True.
Yeah.
Well, Fox and Friends starts right now.
Bye.
Good Tuesday morning to you and your family. Today is September 20th. I'm Ainsley Earhart, and this is a Fox News alert. Stunning new details about the suspected bomber who terrorized New Jersey and New York. The mother of his child says that he hates America. And that is not all. We are live on the ground.
Yep, there he is. And it's he said, she said. After terror strikes again, he's blaming bad immigration policy, and she's touting her experience. Who are we talking about?
Very clearly, immigration security is national security.
I'm the only candidate in this race who has been part of the
narratives. And so we want to make sure that we're getting out our counter narrative against ISIL. When it comes to ISIL, we are in a fight, a narrative fight with them, a narrative battle.
So let's fight him at Barnes & Noble. Why not? Really? A narrative battle? We're going to debate that. And let me do this as we gradually think about the montage that's about to queue up and the animation that's about to roll. Your mornings are better because you're with friends.
Later, they had the guy. They had the suspect.
Right, and they had it. And it was just amazing to see the president addressing the nation at 11:20 Eastern time. And he says, I'm staying on top of things. At the same time, it said on the bottom of the screen, the police have apprehended a 28-year-old suspect. He's in custody. And no one even told the president while he was addressing the nation, saying he was in touch.
Well, we have learned so much. It's all unfolding. So we've got a big show for you today. We're going to begin with this, a Fox News alert. Brand new chilling details about the New York and New Jersey terror bombing suspect. There's his picture that's coming in right now.
Ahmad Rahami's high school sweetheart, calling him a deadbeat dad who hated America.
Not a good combination. This is where learning he made several trips to terrorist hotspots, including Pakistan and Afghanistan. It's essentially a university for wannabe terrorists. Leland Vitter is live in Newark, New Jersey, with some details. Hey, Leland.
Brian, Steve, Ainsley, good morning to you all. Behind me at the hospital here at Ahmed Rahami.
No. You had no idea. And when you hear now that he's been accused of this, do you believe it? Do you believe it? Sir?
I'm not sure what's going on exactly.
You're not sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening exactly. But I think so. It's very hard right now to talk, okay?
The FBI still also looking into this place, First American Fried Chicken. Make of that name what you will, but Ahmed Rahami's family owned that. Ahmed worked there at that store. They lived above it. The FBI yesterday brought out a lot of evidence. The ATF was there as well, still trying to figure out what evidence they brought out from there. Issues with code enforcement at that restaurant. There was a big fight between the family and the city, where the family was accusing the city of discrimination and those kinds of things because the restaurant had become a public nuisance of such. This morning, guys, the FBI also still looking into more questions. Did Rahami have any help? Perhaps did he have someone drive him to go help plant these bombs in various places a couple of hours apart from each other? Was he directed by a foreign terrorist organization? So they're going to start looking at his cell phones and those kinds of things. And also, where did he learn exactly how to make these different bombs, and where did he get the components to do it? Back to you all.
All right, all good questions, Leland. Thank you very much. Big question is, how did they get him? How did they figure out so quickly? Remember that second bomb that was on 27th Street that was arrested a couple of years earlier? They realized, hey, wait a minute, this could be the guy. Then one of the unexploded cell phones, and apparently all these cell phones were bought last year in Perth Amboy at a place called Family Dollar Store. One of the phones was linked to somebody in his family. So the day before yesterday, the cops started looking at one residence, and that's when they followed the 5 people who were going to the airport, and they interviewed them, and then they realized, wait a minute, it's the other guy.
And the question is how many people are working with him. And one of the people in that car had a plane ticket, and he had his passport. And they said, well, he was just getting panicky because he knew that his family member was about to be arrested or was going to be named here, and he didn't want to get caught up in it. Really? I'm not sure if I think we need a few follow-up questions.
So many alarming things, Brian. He tried to stab his sister, was arrested, spent 2 months in jail back in 2014, traveled to Afghanistan, Pakistan, one city in Pakistan, Quetta. It's the headquarters of exiled Afghan Taliban leadership. So no telling what happened over there. He stayed over there about a year, married a Pakistani woman. That's his second marriage.
So, okay, so what do we have? Questions, right? So you want to be able to ask him questions. He's 28 years old. His basically known to hate America, hate our culture, and came back after a year in that region, a totally different guy, according to his friends. So according to Senator Lindsey Graham, who's a lawyer and a former JAG officer, he says it is so important not to treat him like a criminal. Do not give him the right to remain silent. Do not give him his Miranda rights. He is an enemy combatant. We need to find out where the terror ties, or if there are terror ties.
Just like everyone at Gitmo, if you wonder what the definition of an enemy combatant, it's a person who engages in hostility for an enemy state. Someone who goes to another state, is trained over there possibly, comes here and tries to inflict terror on all of us.
But the wrinkle is he's an American citizen. He's a naturalized citizen. But based on his reported actions, he's clearly a candidate for this kind of status because American citizens can be held as enemy combatants if they take up arms against the United States of America or they consort with the enemies, giving the government more leeway in questioning.
Well, that's what Donald Trump keeps saying, Steve. He's saying we have to make sure the people that come into this country that we know exactly who they are and where they've been, because you bring up a good point. He's an American citizen.
He is an American citizen, and so he naturally gets all the rights that we get. So do you make the leap? We're going to talk to Judge Napolitano about this coming up this hour.
Right. Legally, we do have a precedent to do it, but we have no willingness in the White House to do anything but treat him like a criminal. Meanwhile, let's talk about how both would be the next president is going to be Hillary Clinton.
After attack from 9/11 to San Bernardino, we have seen how failures to screen who is entering the United States puts all of our citizens, everyone in this room, at danger. So let me state very, very clearly, immigration security is national security.
And he was here at a young age. And the question is, like the Minneapolis stabber, what is it about America that these guys rejected that made them act out, one stabbing in a mall and one shooting in two separate states?
And I know that you can't arrest someone that doesn't have a major, history. But if you see something, say something, because if you talk to his ex-wife, he's not paying child support. She says he hates America. His friends say when he went over to the Middle East, he came back, he was a totally different person.
Yeah.
Well, here's the cover of the New York Post this morning. According to his high school sweetheart, Bomber hates gays, hates military, hates culture. He hates America. And you were wondering, so how did he have the opportunity, if he is indeed the guy, to buy all those pressure cookers? Well, if you work at a fried chicken place, that is a perfect cover to buy a bunch of pressure cookers.
Right.
Well, anyone can buy a pressure cooker.
Absolutely, but you buy a bunch of them, these days, people start to notice, unless you work at a fried chicken place. Just like
fertilizer. You go into a place to buy fertilizer, people go, wait a second, that's a lot of fertilizer, you might be using that for a bomb. Unlike, either that or you have a farm.
Or a big yard.
Right.
But it's all reported now because you just never know.
Right.
All right. 6:11 now here in New York City.
All right, let's hand it over to Heather, who has some headlines for us.
Hi. Good morning, gang. Good morning to all of you. We've got some major news that was breaking overnight. Fox News alert from overseas. While you were sleeping, French officials arresting 8 people connected to the horrific Bastille Day truck attack where 86 people were killed, including 3 Americans. An ISIS terrorist plowed through crowds watching fireworks in the resort city of Nice, France. Remember this video right here. Well, that driver was shot and killed by police. It's still not clear how these 8 new suspects are connected to the attacker, but we will keep watching that story. Another Fox News alert right now, a frantic scene on the tarmac. Police swarming a plane in the Philippines after getting a warning that that plane had been hijacked. It turned out the pilot hit a distress call button by mistake. Hundreds of passengers were on board the Saudi Arabian Airlines plane, frantically trying to figure out what was going on.
We are already stranded for about 2 hours and still waiting for the government securities to go up here in the said aircraft.
Well, the passengers were let off once police discovered that it was just a false alarm. Another airplane scare, this one here at home. A packed Southwest airline plane blows a tire during takeoff. It was a flight from Los Angeles to Nashville that was forced to turn around.
ISIS is just really a war of words.
In some ways, this is actually just a war of narratives. And so we want to make sure that we're getting out our counter-narrative against ISIL. When it comes to ISIL, we are in a fight, a narrative fight with him, a narrative battle.
We need that in a bomb robot. Is it really a narrative fight? We'll debate it.
And Donald Trump Jr. igniting a firestorm online for comparing Syrian refugees to Skittles. Do you agree? We report, you decide.
The candy? Yeah.